Welcome everybody. Welcome to today's video log 13 February 2017 and potential auction paths. Myself Dean. You can get in touch with me on my Twitter handle Dean_MP, or you can visit my website getthattradingedge.in. The softwares used for today's presentation are Bell Market Profile and Bell Order Flow. You can visit belltpo.com for more details. Let me go through the disclaimer. Information shared here is not a trading recommendation and we are not in a business of providing any. All information shared here is strictly for educational purposes only. Please use your discretion while acting on the information shared here. You will not be responsible for any resulting profits or losses. Please consult your registered financial advisor before you make any trading and investment decision. We have one question today from Money. Question says, NF has been in a range from 6th February till today. Every day the dip is bought and at the top some selling is seen, but closing price and most of the balance is in upper end of the range. After a big move from December end, exhaustion is seen. Since price isn't balancing in the lower end of the range and instead closes higher almost daily, bulls have an advantage. They are asking for my views. Let us go to the charts. Try to see what the auction is doing. Okay, so this is today's chart, and yesterday was a narrow range day, an inside day, a nice bell curve. Today's open was higher. We opened inside the range but above yesterday's close. We took out again this high. Now we have 1, 2, 3, and this is the fourth high which is happening in this particular range. And every time we come here we have seen some rejection. Today also we came down, formed this V shape earlier, but then we got some new business and the prices pushed down, repaired this anomaly which we have been mentioning in our previous posts, and then found some buyers and the price again came back and closed inside the value area, pretty close to the point of control, also inside yesterday's value area. Earlier, after this auction failure at the highs, bulls managed to keep the one time framing going till G period. I mentioned somewhere around here that this one time framing may lead to a spike down, and not to use closer references like this point of control or this range which we have been highlighting in our earlier post, or this low. It was expected that after this one time framing the bears might target levels a bit out of expectation of the market participants. That's what they did. They tagged this anomaly and then immediately buyers came in, and this whole morning confidence could not build any value in this area. If that had been the case, then we might have seen some lower prices, but immediately the prices went back and closed inside yesterday's value area. So I don't know how much weightage can we give to this effort by the bears. They should have closed lower as well as developed value lower, but they could not manage that and they have given up the advantage. You can see the value has developed outside to previous value area. So there were more number of participants that were involved today. Also the volume is also higher than yesterday. So we do have more number of participants in today's market compared to yesterday. The shape, if you see, there was a small distribution in the morning at high, then we came down, tried to build some value at the lows but did not succeed. So this was kind of a double distribution kind of a day till H period, and then the singles, let me just split this profile here. Okay, so what I was saying was there was this distribution at the top, then the small distribution forming lower which could not develop much, and then bulls came in and pushed the price back to the upper distribution. But these singles in between, when this lower distribution was forming, held the key for this downfall. Bears had any strength, they should have protected this, but they could not. That meant that any selling which was done to extend the range lower does not now you know have any control. They have lost their control. Bulls have taken it back, and we have closed inside yesterday's value area. So yesterday's status quo almost is now carried forward with an additional information that there is no interest at the lower side, but it's not that straightforward as we know. Let us move forward and see what the auction did. Price initially went down. Yesterday's value was higher, so price went down, but again it was pulled back. Now we have this familiar shape going, which I just I shared in the afternoon on the Slack, and that familiar shape is the Q shape. This earlier value was here. Today also, earlier part developed in that range. Then we fell down. This was the breakout level from earlier, where on 6th we broke out of this particular 2-day balance. We have been trying to enter this balance, but every time we have found rejection and the prices closed out of it. Today also it was not different. We came in this region 8774, tried to build value, but a small balance was created and it was left. So again we can say that bulls have successfully defended this 2-day balance here and closed the prices again in yesterday's range. So this Q pattern played out beautifully again. Yesterday was a small Q pattern. Today we had a bigger one. Efforts, as I said earlier, that bears today had it going for them in the morning, but inability to develop value in this region, actually leaving this region once again and closing inside the morning balance and yesterday's value area, is a sign that the efforts bears put in the morning has failed completely. Also the value, so I mean value at low is a bit lower than yesterday's value at low, but still it is an outside value with rejection of this small lower balance, means that bulls have control going into the close. Uh, let's just discuss a bit about the close today. You can see, just draw a horizontal line, and you can immediately see that this whole area is put under pressure because of this close. So anybody selling today late in the day is under pressure. Yesterday's sellers may have felt good when the price was trading in this range, but by the time it closed, they again are at the same level they were at yesterday. So they are not very happy with the close today. Anybody selling in this 3-day range definitely is under pressure once again, and their chance to exit was here when the prices rotated down in this region. If they had exited, then it's okay. Otherwise, again these guys will feel the pressure going into the close, and tomorrow bears are going home anxious. We all know what happens when the one of the party goes home anxious. They are generally put under pressure the next morning by the smart money. So a few nuances, as we call it, to discuss. One is that we don't have a in this let me just mark this range, the 6-day range we have. Also we can discuss the question by Mani that there is no value developing at the lower side of the profile. I'll get to that in a minute, but one point to note is that there is no excess at the lows. This was a great excess, but the very next day we came down and formed some value in this region, so you cannot count this as excess now. It has been repaired. a small 2 tick excess yesterday, but again it is repaired. No excess at the lows today. So I mean, this development suggests that the bulls are not very aggressive at the lows. They might be accumulating, but there is no sharp rejection at the lows, and that means that we cannot be sure whether the business at the lows is exhausted, is done, is complete. Cannot be sure of that. On the other side, at the highs also we see that this range has been rejecting. Now it has rejected for the fourth time. Every time the prices move above this area, we get a sharp rejection, but again that they have not been able to generate any follow through. So this selling which is happening in this region might just be profit booking, and not very long term aggressive selling as such. So one two twice it has happened. This was a failed auction as well. So thrice it has happened that we entered this range and we got rejected, and as we moved to the lows, the sellers got exhausted, and immediately the prices moved back and closed in the upper range. So I mean, if you look at it, bulls do have a bit of advantage over here, but you cannot rule out that possibility which I also discussed in my last video log, that there was a chance of repairing this anomaly as well as this poor low. So today we came down, repaired this anomaly and moved back up. So that was one of the hypos which we discussed yesterday. I was also expecting this down move to continue. Take out the stops in this region once and for all, and be sure that there is nothing to be done on the downside, and then mark the prices up. But we cannot tell market what to do. It does what it wants to do. So it just repaired this anomaly. Let me just merge these 6 days of profile. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we have a nice composite developing here. Few points to note is that there is no excess at the top, neither there is an excess at the bottom. We have a nice gradient here. Here also, as we go down, the participation is significantly reducing, but there is this area to be filled. So looking at this composite, I feel that we might trade here a bit and then decide whether to go up or to go down. In the context of the larger trend, let me see if I have a daily chart. Here it is. In the context of the larger trend too, you can see that this was a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 days of sideways move. This is so far 6 days. So you have tails in this region, suggests that lower prices are being rejected, and but they on the profile chart we don't see tails at the lows. There we see double prints at the bottom, so this is a weak low as per market profile. But on a bar chart you can see that you have this tails, red candles. I mean, it's a pretty confusing price action. Usually happens when there is either accumulation or distribution going in the market. So we cannot be sure what this is until we get a nice breakout or intent by the players like we had here. So till that time we just have to play this range, keep our expectations small. Otherwise what happens is that we tend to play for a top or try to buy a pullback and our stop losses hit the next day. So you need to keep your expectations small. Let me see if we can look at the higher time frame profile chart. This should be it. Yes. So you can see it's pretty clear that we have a nice P shape going on on the monthly profile. Here also we had the same kind of a development, but then we got this new business and price extended higher. Tag this point of control. this point of control we tagged. Then we have value developing above this point of control. So in a way, what it means is that sellers in this region are now, they must be, thinking whether this is absorption, whether whatever selling they had done here earlier, they're trying to defend it, but they cannot get lower prices. And maybe the bulls of higher time frame are absorbing and may lead to a similar kind of a new business and extension to the upper side. That remains to be seen what happens. So I mean, we are poised, delicately. Come back to the daily profile charts, and if we see at this, this 6 days of action, we have a nice consolidation, and this action won't lead to a sustained down move that we are seeing. 3 times it happened that we got a failed auction, but there was no follow through. Even if we entered the 2-day composite range, prices were again rejected back. So till the time we have this kind of action at the top, an exhausted buyers kind of action, we won't get a big fall. A similar development is happening at the lows. Sellers are also getting exhausted in this range. So till the time this range is resolved, you cannot be very sure of the future market action. I would like to discuss some hypos, and this whole range can be put under pressure. Of course, there is some selling as well as buying in this range. So if we can start finding acceptance in this range, instead of getting rejected every time we enter this range, we are getting rejected. So the moment we start accepting even in this range, or directly open above and start accepting, anybody who is selling in this region or trying to defend this region will be put under pressure, and that might lead to a sharp up move. Once again, all these shorts will be forced to cover. On the downside, of course, we have, as I have already said, this now poor low remains. We have repaired this anomaly. So I mean, there is again that chance is there for prices to come down, check below this particular level, then decide if it does not find anything to go up again. So, but it's not a rule, as I have already stated in my previous post, that though this is a weak low, it's not a rule that it will be taken out. If the buyers have been using these opportunities to accumulate, it might just happen that we straight away start accepting in this range and put all the sellers below this line under pressure, and force them to cover and get a nice up move going into the tomorrow, or maybe in a day or two. This thing can happen. So these are the hypos for tomorrow. Let me just briefly glance over the order flow chart. I hope Mani's question is answered, that bulls do have an upper hand. But once again, this action of rejecting continuously in this region looks like a mechanical selling. Somebody is selling whenever the prices hits this range, so it's not good. It may also happen that we force these guys to cover, but if we do not find any new business that is acceptance in this range, again we might be may fall down, come into this range and try to repair this weak low. So these are the two possibilities. We'll track the auction intraday, of course, to see what is unfolding. Look at the order flow chart in a brief. This was the open. As we all know that there was no interest at the top. Prices were also, if you can observe this action here, a lot of green prints at the top of the bar, and the bar closing way of the highs, means that these buyers were trapped. Either these were stop losses, or eager buyers trying to buy a breakout. These were trapped, and prices then pushed lower, came back. This was a nice pullback, which could have been used to create some short positions. Uh, then prices just kept on going down. We had a few references lower. Uh, when the price was, trading in this particular bar, I had posted on Slack regarding the trapped sellers in this range. Next bar also, could not make much progress lower. Again, you see a big red print at the bottom. This all suggests, and the close is pretty much of the lows. So these two things, suggest that bulls are, entering at these advantageous lower levels. You have nice delta divergence going in. But then what we require is a test, which we got on this bar, a nice low volume bar coming down again, seeing the cluster of red prints at the lows and price closing of the high lows. So that suggests that these sellers were trapped along with all these, and that led to this nice move going into the close. And we tested the point of control, or the fairest price in this region where the most of the trading took place in the morning. We just tested that and closed there. So that was the order flow chart. You could have found nice opportunity on a lower time frame order flow chart. Let me check if we can see that. 3 minute order flow chart. Yeah, here. Yes. This was that sharp breakdown, and this was the trapped sellers on the second attempt, and this was the test. You can see, you can observe my delta divergence again here. You can see on these two bars, this down bar and this down bar, you can see a nice delta divergence. And this was an opportunity to create along after a test. Could have created earlier also when you saw that the sellers getting trapped near the lows. That yielded a nice move. So that was today's action. Uh, so we'll meet tomorrow and see how the market fares tomorrow. So thank you. Good night.